Hi crafters! Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a project from beginning to end and step by step. We're going to use the Forest Collection to create this photo frame. And this can also be used as a scrapbook page and even a little portion of it as a card. So there's a little something here for everybody. I hope you like it, and let's just get started. Now, the first thing we're going to do is take two pieces of chipboard. The first one is going to be 11 inches by 11 inches, and then you're going to want to make marks at 1.5, 4.5, 6.5, and 9.5. And going down this side, the same thing, 1.5, 4.5, 6.5, and 9.5. And then you'll connect those, and these will be your 3 frames. The next piece of chipboard is for the backer, and that one's going to be 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. So once you have that finished, what you do is take your chipboard and your X-Acto knife, and then take a nice straight edge, line it up with your lines, and then just simply make your squares. And make sure you cut right to the corners so that they'll pop out easily. So just go around all your squares till you have them done. And we'll just finish these off to loosen them out. And it's all right if you overcut just a little bit, just to make sure you get those nice clean corners. And don't try to cut it all in one swipe. Just take short strokes until you get to the bottom. And you can hear it click. And that corner's loose. And they should just pop out. If they don't, just go ahead in the corner again. There you go. And there's your 3. So now you have your frame ready to cover. So our next step is going to be to select the paper. A lot of times I do the romantic, but today I thought we would go with something from the Forest Collection. And this is just a single sheet that I chose, and it is SBB 654. It's got a really nice wood texture background. So what I'm going to do now is take my craft glue and a large brush, and I'm just going to cover the surface. Now, once you have the edges folded up, you're going to want to clip the corners. And this doesn't have to be terribly precise, but you're just going to notch each corner. And this is the reason why we did it as an 11 by 11, because then your 12 by 12 sheet is going to give you a nice 1/2 inch margin all the way around. So next we'll glue the edges. And make sure you have a nice coverage of glue, but you don't have to add too much. This craft glue is really nice, and it doesn't have to be too thick. So just fold it up. Take your burnisher, and it is down and set. And when you get to the other side, just take your burnisher and make a nice crease. So when you fold it over, you'll have a nice clean edge. There, that's finished. Now, for the frames, and this is why you didn't cut these out ahead of time, what I want you to do is just take your X-Acto knife and go from corner to corner. It doesn't have to be a perfectly straight edge. Just make sure you start in the corner and end up in the opposite corner. Is that just a little bit? Make sure you get it all the way through. Now, when you have that done, all you're going to do is fold back and press down and do each of the windows this way. Make sure you're up close against the edge of the frame. And when you have that done, then you just glue down your flaps. Okay, now once that's finished, your frame is ready to decorate. So you see how pretty and what nice neat edges you have. So your photos will already be framed. Now on that 10 3/4 piece that I had you cut of chipboard, just take a plain piece of cardstock that kind of coordinates with it. Do the same thing. Glue it down to the one side, fold over the edges and clip like I showed you. So now your frame is going to be ready to go. And you see what a nice back it will have. It'll be finished front and back. Now for the fun part. What I've done is I've gone through and I've pulled out some ideas for you. First one is from the die cuts. Now there are a lot of animals, and you'll see in here we've got leaves, little deer, fox, squirrels, we even have some flowers. So, an eagle. So depending on what kind of theme you want, whether it's with the animals, you can even go with the birds or just the forest scene. The die cuts might be something you'd like to try. The other thing I've done is taken one of the molds. Now this one has the fox, the squirrel, a little hedgehog. It's got a bird, pine cones, a lot of different choices there. And I've used the ceramic powder and already made the fox, the squirrel, and the hedgehog, and just painted these with acrylic paint. I've done the acorns and the pine cones, one of the leaves, and even some of the berries. So just collect up, as I say, if you want to make the molds or go with the die cuts. You can also take some of the pages from the paper pad. And on this particular one, I kind of like this piece down here at the bottom, and I think that would make a good base for the corner. So I might just cut that out with some of the leaves to get my arrangement started. There's also in the paper pad, there's different options here. Here's even some leaves that you could cut out and some more of the flowers. So let's get started. Now this is the part where you have some fun. Sometimes it just takes a little working around, a little auditioning, but go ahead and try different arrangements. And I'm just going to quickly cut out that piece from the cardstock that I liked, including the ferns. Then you may do this several times, just till you get what you like. And also, too, if you're doing this for a particular person, they may prefer the animals, or if it's just an outdoor scene, something with camping, you can also just customize it to suit the theme that you're going for. So like I say, this is just a quick cut. And what I want to do is just anchor the bottom. Now the other thing to keep in mind too on this is your flow. And the reason I didn't do 4 frames is because then it would just be too heavy, because I would be concentrating my embellishments right in the center. So I didn't want to do that. But you can see just by anchoring this down just a little bit, we're going to start here and then work our way up. I'm not going to run it directly to the center. Now on this one, you might even want to take a portion of the tree. And what we can do is do it in 3-dimension. We'll build it up a little bit to see how that looks. Now I'm doing this right with you. I haven't done this one before, so this will give you a chance to see my thought process, rather than saying, oh yeah, this is how to do it and that'll be the end of it. So there's a lot of play that goes on when you're creating something like this, and that's okay. Enjoy the process. Now, let's see. See, now that's going to be too large. So I don't think that one's going to work. You could just put that down a little bit. Just remake the tree. And then if we lay that over the top, see, we're creating a little bit of dimension. And let's see what else we can add. I think we might need an animal. Now, as much as I like that wolf, I don't know. Could put him back there and then just raise this up so he was standing in the woods. Okay, make us come forward just a little bit. So he actually looks like he's coming right out of the forest. So I think I'm going to just play a little bit more and see how that looks. So here we are, and this is an option if you're going to use this as a scrapbook page. I didn't put the mold on there because that would be a little too tall. So what I did is I used the wolf die cut, but I kept the tree and I did a little more trimming on it. And I'm going to use this piece with the ferns, and I also did a little trimming. And what I did is I darkened the edges with a little bit of ink. I also found a sentiment that I liked. It says, "Silence speaks when words can't." Now, on the back of these pieces, I just took some cardboard and I glued it down for the lift. So I've got that layer, and I've got it on the back of the trees. So that's ready to go into place. So all I have to do is position it. You can glue that down, glue this piece, and then on the wolf, I didn't put anything on the back, but then I'll just glue that right into place. Now for this one, I can also just set it there. And I put a little black around the edges just to set it off. And I think that one would be nice if it just sat right about there. Now in the corner, I took the eagle and I trimmed it down a little bit. I took off some of the white edge, and I think I'm just going to place him right up there, just a little over the frame. And I think that would be fine for a scrapbook page. Now, I'm going to leave the eagle, keep the sentiment. I'm going to take out this wolf, use the same pieces for the backdrop. But then I took the wolf, put cardboard on the back, and there's about 3 layers here so that when he stands, he'll be nice and even. And what I'm going to do on this one is I'm just going to set him right there. I'm going to tuck this back behind. And I think it needs to come down just a little bit more there. So you can see I'm keeping the composition more towards this end, so he's not like spread all over. And then to finish off, you can add a few more ferns. And if you have any kind of greenery, I happen to have a little bit of moss. And what I'm going to do is just set it around. This is just like a landscape moss or florist type thing. And then you can just tuck that around, so that'll kind of seat him. And then just play with that a little bit. You can actually cover one of his feet so he's actually like standing in the ground. And even if you didn't like the green, just a little bit of brown. So fuss with that a little bit more. Put them all together. And when you're happy with your composition, then we'll just glue it down. Okay, now to finish this off, I'm going to go around all the edges, and you can see I've already started with just an ink pad. And this is just a plain brown. I'm going to go around the photo frames and just add a little bit of shadow. And this gives it a nice bit of depth. Now, around the wolf, I'm going to take, and I'm going to put some shadows in there too, just so he's not just sticking out. I just want to rub it. And then behind the ferns too. And you can see how that added some nice depth. So that makes the wolf stand out just a little bit more. You can see that a little bit better. Now the last thing is on your back panel. You can see here I put in some Velcro dots. Put it here and then on the back of the frame. So what you can do is instead of permanently attaching it, you can put your photos in here and then just lay it down on your Velcro. And then when you want to, you just pull it back up and you can change your photos. Well, that's going to finish up this project, but for you romantics, I didn't forget about you. I did another version, only on this one, I used the Passion collection. So you can see it's the same frame, same construction, but I've just used different papers. On this one, I used the ballerina. I used the flowers from one of the papers and just cut them out, shaped them in, a little bit of ribbon. I did a little bit of stenciling on this one for a little added dimension. But now you have the same project two ways. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's project. I know I really had a good time doing it for you. If you have any questions about the frame and how to make it, be sure and let me know. You can send me an email and I'll be glad to help you out. So everybody take care. Thanks again.